Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. So today I'm making a video on why you should quit social media. So I'm first going to start with why I personally stopped. So one of the main reasons is because I'm part of Generation Z. And as a generation, we have grown up on the use of social media. We are one of the first generations to have it fully, pretty much throughout our lives, and to have the use of the internet throughout our lives. And I think that this has made a big difference to how we now socialize, to how we communicate with people. It's certainly changed and there's no doubt about that, but the question remains as to whether it's a good thing. For example, you now can't really go anywhere without there being someone glued to their phone. And that's places, parties, clubs, universities, on transport. But these are places where sometimes we can have communication, but we choose the easy method of just going on our phones. And I think the art of communication has certainly been hindered by the use of social media and our constant addiction and need to look at our phones. If we feel the slightest bit of awkwardness or just inability to find the correct words in that conversation, so you just immediately reach for your phone. And I think this has also changed the way we actually use language. For example, we now use far more filler words than we did before.
Is like talking stages, like that's so annoying, like the whole and just like the inconsistency in them, I literally hate that so much. But I think that's my biggest thing. It's just
what specifically?
Just the fact of just you
things like stuff. I hear these words so much more than, for example, if you look back at videos, film of older people, older generations talking, you'll find a huge difference between people today and people back then, and the way that we talk. For example, I'm in university and I have to sit in classes, I have to sit in seminars, and we have lots of really great discussions and debates. But sometimes there's people who constantly use and they're explaining a concept or they're trying to add to the discussion or the debate. And personally, I find it quite difficult to actually understand what you're trying to say in between and and stuff. And I'm not saying that I'm not exempt to it, I certainly do it. I just try to notice when I do it, and instead of getting into this bomb where you're just saying it every other word, I try to say, okay, pause. Don't say or which is a personal one of mine. Try and just pause. Use a different word. Pause is fine. It's not this awkward thing that we think it is. It's good to pause. It's good to have a quick reflection, to think, instead of just constantly talking. It allows for better conversation, in my opinion. Also, a quick note that I think people who use a lot and other filler words, it really brings down how other people look at you in conversation. And I mean in terms of your confidence. If you're explaining something and you're trying to be persuasive perhaps, and you use it doesn't sound convincing. It sounds like you don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, this is just one of the things that I think that social media has caused. It's caused this shortened language. It's caused the inability for us to actually have real world conversations. Instead, everything's done on short messages, it's done on quick voice notes, and our ability to communicate is like anything else. It's something that needs to be exercised, it's something that needs to be practiced, and we're not doing that because of social media. I also noticed that there was just so much noise all the time. Like, I'd often find that I'd, come out the shower and I'd put on a YouTube video, and I'd also be scrolling Instagram at the same time. And I think many people do that, where they just kind of sit on the bed in a towel for a while because they just can't be bothered, getting dressed, getting ready, so you just kind of sit and you procrastinate doing that. And I've done that so many times, and it's just so much. There's just too much stuff. There's someone talking at you about something on social media, on one platform, say YouTube, and then there's someone else on something like Instagram, or it's just some sort of, the TikTok reel thing, and it's just going and going and going, and I just felt so overwhelmed, and I didn't like that. That was a big thing to which caused me to say I don't want to use this as much, because it was way too much for me. I felt I couldn't think sometimes. I felt that my focus was just here, there and everywhere. And yeah, I didn't like having this constant buzzing of noise and people's opinions and just stuff, because it's just stuff. It's not anything useful half the time. Sometimes, yeah, you get some useful advice on something, but really, when we're on Instagram or on YouTube and you just got out the shower, or you're just doing something to kind of procrastinate, which is why we use social media a lot. That's why we can have the addictions, is because we're always using it. We're not just using it for, the main purpose to communicate a little bit, or to, use its chat functions, use it to look for job opportunities, which, yeah, it can be a really great tool for. What we're using it is to procrastinate, and it's not good. We create an addiction by constantly going on it and looking at everything and nothing, because what we're looking at is stuff that we'll instantly forget. Like, if you remember everything that you have watched this morning, for example, I'd say you're lying, because I cannot remember usually a single kind of reel that I have watched that morning after 2 hours of being on Instagram. And yeah, that's not a great thing. We shouldn't be spending 2 hours of our time scrolling looking at stuff and then being unable to remember a single thing of it. Also, being part of Generation Z and a younger person, which I assume is the audience who are watching this, we are trying to find ourselves right now. You're young. You're unsure of who you are. You haven't lived yet. You properly lived. You haven't had many experiences, probably in the outside world. You haven't had much experience being an adult, or maybe, I don't know, a young person generally. And the use of social media takes away our self-exploration, because we're looking at people's opinions all the time, that bombardment of stuff. We're just looking at people's opinions. We're looking at how people dress, how people say you should think, how people say that you should live your everyday life. People saying, no, you shouldn't like this, you should like that. Saying, this is an ick, that's not an ick. It's stuff like that. And it's how are you supposed to be yourself? How do you even know who you are when you're constantly listening to other people and having other people tell you how you should think and behave and pretty much act in every possible way people are telling you how to do life? But you don't know yourself, because how can you? And it's such a crucial part of life to form opinions, to form behaviours, to work out our own style for ourselves. Yes, we can have some, opinion here, we can have some influence, but I think, in my opinion, that it has gone over, the little bit of influence, the little bit of advice. We are being told in some ways that you need to dress like this, you need to think like this, you need to behave like this, you need to like these things, you need to dislike these things. And to grow as a healthy person, to grow as someone who has their own opinions formulated and who is confident in those opinions and those behaviors and the way that you think, it's not good, because we're going to have so many people who are just the same. And what kind of world is a world that everyone is the same? Who wants that? That's not a world, personally, that I would like to live in. And that kind of goes hand in hand with the fact that our focus and our attention is being taken away from us. Our focus and our time is the most important things that we probably have. Money is a good resource, but time is the only resource that we will never get back. Money we can make. We can always make money, we can lose it, but we can always make it back. We can never get back the time that we have had, no matter how much we wish it. And the thing with social media is it's based upon time. You don't pay anything to these social media companies, but what they're taking from you is your time, your focus, your attention, which could be spent in many other places, yet they have you addicted to your phone, to social media, to these most of the time pointless videos. We need to find a healthy balance between creating and consuming, because as a consumer, you are just spending so much of your time on these sites and you're not using yourself, you're not using what you like, what you love in creation. And creation doesn't mean you have to sit there and do like arts and crafts and things like that. Find what you like, and it's so difficult. Again, like I said, it goes back to you don't know who you are probably all too well, because people are telling you who you are or who you should be. But you need to find the ability to add and create, and that can be anything. That can be writing, it can be through making videos, it can be, there's so many ways you can create. If you think of that word create and draw so much stuff from it, you can find a way that you can contribute instead of just consume, because you don't want to just consume for your entire life, just taking what everyone else is doing and not creating yourself and putting anything else out there into the world. Now, there's a quote that I found that's, if you're not paying, then you are the product. And I think that is 100% social media. You're not paying, but you are the product. Okay? So what that means is that, yeah, you're not paying financially, but you are the product from these social media sites. You are wasting your time, energy, attention, focus, most of the time, on these social media sites. Okay, so I'm going to talk about detox. So firstly, how did I detox? I personally have not completely deleted social media. I know this is, the title of the video, Quit Social Media, but I'm going to tell you why. So personally, I do believe that social media does have its benefits. A lot of the time, I'd say, 70 to 90% of the time, it's quite useless, meaningless, and you forget what you've just watched. However, if you use social media in the correct way, you limit your time and you search for the things that you want, then I think that it can 100% be used as a tool for good. So yeah, I've been using social media still as a tool for things like job opportunities and for socials at my university. So a lot of them would use Instagram as their main place to post where they'd be doing their social, the time, the place. So I'd keep Instagram for that. Now, how I'd keep Instagram was I would only use it on a Friday, and a Friday at 7 p.m. for an hour. I found this to be the best way for me because I didn't want to miss out on certain things. I don't want to miss out on possible job opportunities, which can be found a lot of the time on social media. And I didn't want to miss out on these socials. So what I would do is I would delete Instagram as an app. I would not have it on my phone, because I know if I had it on my phone, very easy to just scroll, click, and then you're on Instagram again. And you're scrolling for hours and hours and hours. So what I do, delete it for the entire week, pick a day, for me, Friday, 7 p.m, only go on it and then delete it again. And you find that you don't even use it for the entire hour. I got pretty bored of it fast. You know, I only used it for maybe, I don't know, chunks of 10 minutes for that hour, maybe even less. And yeah, I'd get bored of it. I would find nothing's really happened. I haven't got an influx of messages. Nobody's done this or done that. You know, people are just kind of posting still their everyday lives. And I'd be like, okay, well, great. I haven't really missed out on all that much. Delete. Let's go back to it in a week. And I have done this since the very start of the year. I've also done it kind of with YouTube, except with YouTube I completely deleted the app off my phone, and I simply didn't use it on my phone. I just used it on my laptop, maybe on my iPad, which I found to be a lot better. I can't just whip out my phone, start scrolling on YouTube and go down that rabbit hole of videos. I have, however, kept Facebook, but because I write a few articles and the main place where you find that they're being commissioned, this is for my university paper, is on Facebook. So I keep that just so that I can get updates of the next articles that are available to be written. But I do see myself possibly after university completely deleting Facebook, possibly doing what I did with Instagram. But generally, I don't really use Facebook. I think this is kind of a thing with our generation. It's mainly the older generations who are using it. But for me, and I think for others my age, is not really the social media place anymore. I think it's mainly TikTok and Instagram that are the places. And also, just to mention TikTok, I thankfully never actually really got all that addicted to TikTok. I know that it is probably so addictive. It's not probably, I know it's addictive. I've seen that this can be the main thing that can cause people to completely quit social media, and I can see why. Because for me, with Instagram, it mainly got me with the reels. So I can see why TikTok, that has, you know, the same function of the constant swipe, I can see why that would be the thing that would make you think, okay, I'm addicted to social media. But in your detox, you need to find out what is good for you. You need to find out if whether, okay, 1 day a week I can have social media for maybe the entire day, maybe just for an hour, maybe just for 2 hours, or whether you want to completely delete it. It's really up to you within that. You need to find out yourself how you can work around this. Even just limiting it, you know, with your screen time. You know, you can add that function on your phone which tells you after an hour or 2 hours, you know, that's your time done on that app, and you know, you just close that app. Personally, I again didn't really find that worked. I usually just click OK and then carry on scrolling. You know, I didn't really take notice of it. I'd be a bit like, oh, 2 hours, okay, that's bad. Oh well, can I carry on? So personally, I went down the route of delete, then 1 hour on a Friday, and that really worked for me. But find out what's best for you. So how this helped? For me, this really helped with spending time with my family, being able to communicate better. You know, if my friends came or my boyfriend came, we would just sit and we could talk, which didn't involve scrolling on our phones. In fact, I notice way more people now scrolling on that phone. And I'll just sit and kind of be like, wow, that's a long time, you know. Often with my mom, I'll just kind of think, that's a long time that she's been scrolling. And it's interesting because you think, that was me. That was 100% me, and you see it maybe on transport as well. People don't even lift their head up once because they're so transfixed with their phones. So the thing with all that noise that I first mentioned is that it was incredibly all-consuming. I often went on Instagram, and then finally when I came out of that binge, I really just felt horrible a lot of the time, because there's just so much stuff which was saying buy this to be better, you know, be more this, do more of that, think like this, don't think like that. And it often left me leaving the app thinking, I'm not good enough. You know, why aren't I like this? And it's this feeling of comparing, which is, I think, a massive thing on social media, especially with Instagram. You know, you've got so many beautiful Instagram models. You see these images and you think, why don't I have a body like that? Why don't I have those clothes? I want to have those clothes. You know, it's little things, but it's things that can make you just feel lower that day. And why would you want to spend so much time on something to leave it and then just feel bad? That's personally not what I want from anything, let alone social media. So yeah, with this time, I read more, I joined the gym, I did lots of exercise, I learned a few new recipes, I watched some movies that I've always wanted to watch. You know, I'd sit all the way through them, I'd watch TV shows with my boyfriend, with my friends, and I wouldn't pick up my phone once. I even learnt to crochet, which I'll show here maybe, my top shrug thing. But yeah, I've been really loving that, and I've found it to be so therapeutic. My mum got me like a drawing sketchbook for Christmas. I really want to use that out. So yeah, I want to build real life skills. So much time is wasted on social media, on scrolling, when 2 hours of your life, you can really learn a skill, the basics of a skill, in 2 hours of your life. If you really dedicated it like you do to social media, think about how well you'd be doing it. Anything really, you know, anything, piano, crocheting. You could read a lot of books 2 hours a day with your time. You could go to the gym, 2 hours in a gym, that's quite a lot, but yeah, I mean, if you want to spend your time in that way, it's better probably than constant social media. So yeah, basically, you need to figure this out for yourself. You need to begin this journey of who you are, and you can certainly aid this with quitting social media, or partially quitting it like me, or just reducing your screen time, just doing something to make sure that you're not constantly scrolling, to make sure that you're not just dedicating your entire time, your focus, attention on nothingness, which is what social media is a lot of the time. Yes, social media has its benefits, as we talked about, but it also really has its drawbacks. So you need to find out what the benefits are for you and hone in on that when you use the app, instead of getting completely wrapped up in the reels and the likes and the scrolling. Just remember that you can quit this, you can stop this addiction, and you can start living your life for you and not for others. So yeah, thank you for watching this video. I'm going to leave the comments open down below. Please remain respectful and polite. If you don't like my opinion on some of these things, that's totally fine. We can agree to disagree. I'd love to further this conversation with you. What have you found the benefits of social media to be? What have you found the drawbacks to be personally? Are there any similarities with what I've said? So yeah, it'd be great if you guys can, you know, help each other down below with starting this journey to quit social media. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.